had a few comments on some of the VGA televisions I've shown, so seeing that there's that interest there, I thought I'd chase this Orion up. I've had opportunity to get it before. It's never really been a high priority, but with the interest I thought I'd grab it this time. So obviously, as you know, it's got SCART and VGA in it. Right now we're at the front, and as usual I've already got the pattern up on the screen from the PC. While we're here at the front, it's got Svideo and composite and your audio left and right. We'll come back to the front shortly, but we'll go around the back just to confirm what it's got so you can see it, and we'll also get the model number as well while we're around there. Yeah, so this is like a sequel to the other Orion TV I've got a review of. This is very similar, but now in widescreen. So there it is there. The model is the 32DUA 7800. And yet again, it's made in Italy. And down here, oh, it's bloody dark. There we go, I've put the light on, that's better. So there's the VGA input. Interestingly too, it's got its own separate audio in for the VGA, but that's in the RCA form. Typically it's the 3.5mm headphone jack. These guys have opted for RCAs. You got your two SCARTs. The first one's RGB enabled, and the second one can be selected into Svideo. And then you've got your audio out there, and then there's a couple of rear speaker connectors there. I've never used those before. I've never even seen that sort of thing. So I put, oh shit, that was unexpected. I'm pondering my thoughts on the TV. I've done everything I want to do with it to see what it's like, and I'm just going to let you know. I'm sort of going to get more to the point, I think. The Saturn's on now. You know, the colour and brightness is fine in this set. This is a 100Hz model, so you know, I was keen to see what sort of effect that would produce, and it's still got the scan lines fairly well, unlike some of the other TVs at 100Hz that remove the scan lines out, but it actually does go a little bit blurry in motion. You've heard me say that quite a few times before. It's a little bit like a cheap El Cheapo LCD screen. It just, when it's still it looks pretty good, but when it's in motion it's not right. So you know, that's a blow against it, and that's really a deal breaker there already. I didn't really expect anything else. Not sure what the goes with that little fella there having a pee there on the grass, but this is super tempo on the Saturn, by the way. A nice game, good one. So you know, that's that. That's the 15 kilohertz, 50-60 hertz stuff there. That's got the 100Hz treatment given to it. Now we'll go on to the VGA side of things. If I can get there. There, VGA, as you can see. It doesn't actually have a widescreen mode here in VGA, which is a little bit annoying. You have to basically manually stretch it out, and it's nice to have these two choices, vertical amplitude and horizontal shift. Oh, I didn't see that before. Oh, nice. It's good. We've got a few more than I first expected, but we can fit that in there pretty good. It's got the old symptom of being a little bit too anti-clockwise. However, the convergence is pretty good. The whites are very white, and the geometry is pretty good in general. Not bad at all, not bad. I'll get off this test pattern here and go into the PC desktop. Yeah, it's not bad. I've had to tone down the colour and brightness and a few things, because on this default it's just way too rich and the colour's just way too saturated. But you know, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good picture there. Not too bad at all. The TV doesn't really support a lot of resolutions. I'll switch it into one that it doesn't accept to show you what it does in it, and this is handy as well. So we'll go 320 by 200. I don't know. Oh, it does do that. Okay. Might support a few more than I expected, but won't support too many more. I've got to get rid of that thing off the screen. Yep. Alright, 800 by 600. Here we go. At least it does this. I haven't seen any other TVs do this. They often tell you it doesn't support the resolution, but at least this one actually tells you what it does support. That's nice. That's handy. I've got to talk about the service menu. Is a bit of a pain in the backside. It's you got to have the TV off, powered off, and do a procedure to get it into the service menu and turn it on. You know, a bit annoying. You have to turn the TV off to do that. But it's a bit inflexible. It's got all the typical picture adjustments, but you can't go into VGA mode while you're in the service mode. You can't have a 4:3 aspect ratio picture up. Like if I've got the Saturn going, it's forced into widescreen, and I really want it in 4:3 to make adjustments there. So that does annoy me. The service menu, it's stuck where it's stuck, and I don't like that at all. It does annoy me. Here's a look at the menu system. I'll go into installation. I select English as the language. Interestingly, with the country selection, you can see a lot of European countries there, and then tucked away at the bottom you've got Australia. Makes me wonder if this set was only released in those countries, and Australia, I suppose, was fortunate enough to get this model. It's another SCART one to our shores, because we don't get a lot of SCART over here, but old US and other countries have missed out on this one. Probably really no big loss anyway. I mustn't forget to show the remote control and the user manual that came with the set. When I first saw this remote, I thought this was a generic replacement because there's no mention of Orion, the brand name of the TV, on the remote. But inside the manual there is a picture of this remote, so it is the genuine article. And also the manual itself doesn't have anything about Orion on it at all, and this model number sticker is actually just pasted onto the front cover. This is like the Aussie version with the yay on the end. It just makes me think that this TV's probably been produced to go into several different markets with different brand names attached to it. So over here we got it as Orion. I wouldn't have a clue what it's called elsewhere in the world. Okay, so the back's off the TV now, and I've taken the chassis out, which we'll have a look at shortly. A little bit of a surprise, I suppose. It's got a Phillips tube inside it. Previous Orion that I did a review of had a Thomson tube. This time we've got a Phillips, and it's made in Germany. So I reckon you can be assured that that's going to be a fairly good quality tube. It's got the molded yoke design on the back, like many of the other Phillips tubes used in various European brands of televisions. So that's pretty good. Now for the chassis. Now the previous owner of the Orion said to me after I bought it that it had some repairs done to it. Surprise, surprise. Here's the chassis here. It's got a bloody massive fortress-like heatsink wall that has 3 sides. And this just surrounds the flyback and various other parts. That's a massive heatsink. Here's the VGA board. There's your tuner right there, Australian one. The chassis' actual ID is there's your details there, 32 DAU. You know, you type in something like that into Google and you'd probably find some more information on it. I managed to find the service manual details via those labels there. You know, there's the back again. But you know, when the owner told me that it's had some repair work done to it, it always interests me to see what has been replaced. And the suspect area are the components inside that big heatsink wall that you just saw. If you look at some of the solder joints here on the flyback transformer, you see that either it has gotten hot or it has been all replaced, which I think it has been. There's a lot of brown around the edges of the solder joints here on the flyback, and there's quite a number of components, like up here, I'm not sure, it might be the horizontal output transistor. It's attached to the heatsink wall. That looks like it's definitely been replaced. It's got it's had a lot of heat applied to it, and it's melted around the solder joints. So there are quite a number of components that have been replaced on this board. I'm almost dead certain that the flyback has been replaced, because its ID would suggest to me that it's come from the Spanish company that does a lot of flyback replacements. I don't think it's the original flyback that's in there now. So, this is the third Orion television, I suppose you could say, that I've had that's had problems in one place or another, and I do still have the opinion that it is somewhat of a cheap brand, Orion. Can deliver a reasonably good picture, but it is somewhat of a cheap brand. Might be just a coincidence I've had a bad run with them, that I don't really think they are top quality. In conclusion, it's a pretty good VGA display. I haven't thoroughly tested all the resolutions, and it did that low one a moment ago that surprised me. I'd say this would be good for the 360, being a widescreen and all. I haven't tried the 360, but with the clarity of the PC desktop, I'd say it would look pretty good for that. Don't know if you'd go Dreamcast. You can if you want to have a 4.3 console on it. Yeah, look, no real strong recommendations with this one. I had to get it just to see what it was like. Obviously, not the best suited TV for consoles like the one in front of us. Good quality tube inside, a lot of potential in those Philips tubes, but 100Hz chassis doesn't really do it justice for what I want to use it for. Reliability of the componentry on the chassis is questionable. This is Orion, bit of a cheap brand, as I've said before. So that's pretty much it for the Orion. Anyway, I should have another VGA TV coming up soon, which I reckon will be a winner. It'll probably have very similar tube inside it, but the chassis should be better, so just hang around for that one. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and see you next time.